Okay, this worked better. Now the PowerPoint has started. Deborah, can you see the screen for agenda?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, it looks great.
okay, wonderful. Thank you so very much. So again, today is our second admitted students event. We're gonna hosting a series of admitted students event for summer and fall. This month, we already had one last Thursday, focus on cost and scholarship. Today's topic is focused on immigration and I-20 process. Of course, at the end, we will answer more questions you have. Um, Next Thursday, we're going to talk about housing, especially for downtown on-campus housing. And in April, we're going to hosting three additional admitted students events on the second, third, and the fourth Thursday. Again, we're going to specifically talk about cost for both campuses again. I will send out everything by the end of this Friday because we are doing the counting, see how many students admitted, how many students attending each event, and then if any event worth of rescheduling. So there's a kind of like a, logic we have to run through before we send out another invite for you all. If you have already attended the session before, please just making sure unless you have questions, you can always come back, but every session has a limit for 100. If you do not need specifically for the PowerPoint or the presentation, you do not need to come to the admitted students event. You can just send us an email or come to the office hour from Monday through Wednesday at 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn to Deborah to let her start the PowerPoint. Oh, hang on. Before that, I want to mention one thing. After you get admitted, the students will receive an email about this. Several steps you need to do right after your admission. This one, you do not need to wait until you get an email from your scholarships office, get an email from your orientations office. This is what you need to do in order to trigger all those emails. Submit your intent to enroll. This is non-binding. What does that mean? That means you can change your mind later. You tell us that you are seriously considering attending Georgia State. You have an intention to come to this fall or this summer. Summer starting June, fall starts in mid of August. You activate your Georgia State campus ID, your email, then you're gonna follow all the steps. Very important, making sure you have to finish. There are three different orientation. One is online called Start at State. Without completing your Start State, you will not get emails for class registration. Then you need to finish your I-20, complete those two steps, allow you to move forward to meet with your advisor for your class registration. Now, if you are not a freshman, you are a transfer student, post-bac, transient, transition student. After you finish Start at State and your I-20, you are able to register your classes on your own. You can also schedule a direct one-on-one appointment with your academic advisor for your class registration. Okay, so those are the brief things I want to mention. I will mention at the every beginning for the admitted student events. I'm going to turn to Deborah to let her cover today's topic. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Peace. Peace, will you just advance the slides for me? Will that work? Oh, we can go back
Oh,
to
hang on,
slide
sorry,
four,
sorry.
but yeah, but do you mind just advancing them for me, or I can request control
Yeah,
if you.
I will. I will
Okay,
advance. Just to say next, I will do
okay,
that. Hang on, let me go back to where we are.
we should be on slide 4.
I advanced too much.
Yeah. All right,
Okay, there we go.
one more.
One more. There you go.
Yep, here we go. All right. So again, thank you all for attending today. My name is Deborah. I am the Senior International Student Advisor for the International Student Scholar Office at Georgia State University. So our office primarily works with students after the admissions decision to prepare the I-20 immigration document for the student to travel to the United States to study. Or we assist those students who are already in the United States studying to transfer They receive I-20 documents to continue their study at Georgia State University. Our office also verifies the lawful presence of students that hold other various non-immigrant visa statuses in the United States, or for those who have applied or been approved as immigrants, such as refugee students and those students in asylum or who have applied for asylum status in the United States. Our office provides immigration advising and support for students holding F1 immigration status, and we offer cultural programming to all students attending any GSU campus. We're going to cover a lot of information and topics today, and we do expect to have a little time at the end for questions. If I don't get to your question today, though, feel free to email us at ISSS@gsu.edu. I put that information in the chat earlier. The International Student and Scholar Office processes documents for students that are identified as a non-immigrant visa holder, or students that have applied for asylum status or been granted asylum or refugee status in the U.S. after their admissions decision. These students must verify or opt out of lawful presence or request an I-20 immigration document by submitting the appropriate e-form or e-forms in your iStart account. The International Student Scholar Office does not accept any paper documents in our office or emailed. We only accept documents uploaded directly via your iStart account. Excuse me. Next slide. So within 24 to 48 hours of your admissions decision email, you will receive an email from iStart. iStart is the software or platform that our office uses to manage the international student and scholar population at Georgia State University. This email will contain instructions on your next steps, either to verify or opt out of lawful presence or request an I-20 immigration document. Please make sure to read the email carefully and then follow the steps shown to either verify or opt out of lawful presence or to submit your e-forms to request your I-20 immigration document. We do recommend that students submit the required e-form or e-forms within 1 week of the acceptance. Normal processing times for any e-form submitted to our office is currently about 5 to 7 business days, but this time frame can vary depending on the particular request of the student and the volume. Of course, the closer we get to a semester, the longer it could take for our office to review your request due to the volume of requests, emails we're receiving, phone calls, and walk-ins. The sooner you can submit your e-forms, the better. If for some reason you do not receive an email within 48 hours of your admissions decision email, please email the International Student Scholar Office so that we can look into that for you. When logging into iStart, please make sure to not use the www in front of the URL or the website will not load, or you might receive an error message. So to log in, simply click the login link in the email you received or go to istart.gsu.edu. You will need to click on login and then log in with your campus ID and password to access your iStart account. Next slide, please. So this is a copy of the email that you'll receive from iStart within 24 to 48 hours of your admissions decision. Again, it's important that you read the entire email and follow the next steps for all students in the order listed. Once you've completed all of the next steps, you will need to determine which e-form or set of e-forms, this is referred to as an e-form group, that you'll need to complete depending on your immigration category. So some students will only need to submit one e-form, but others may have multiple e-forms to submit. The e-forms will be located in various locations of your iStart landing page once you're logged in. So it's important to take note of where the e-form or the e-forms you need are located within the iStart menu or landing page in this email. For example, the e-forms to request an I-20 immigration document are located under the request section of your iStart account, whereas the e-form to complete the verification of lawful presence is located under the admissions tab. Once you've activated your campus ID, noted as step 1 in the next steps for all students, and you know where to find the e-form or the e-form groups you need after you log into iStart, you're ready to actually log into the system. Next slide. All right, so here on this screen, you'll need to click on Login and then log in with your campus ID and the password to access your iStart account. You must have activated your campus ID and your password to log into iStart. If you have not activated your campus ID and password, do that first and then return to the login page. If you cannot log into iStart, please send a screenshot of any error messages you have received along with your name and Panther ID to our email for assistance. If you can't access iStart on your computer, my best advice would be to try to launch it on your cell phone because that almost 100% of the time works. Your computer may have a firewall or other programs that block iStart from loading. Next slide, please. After you successfully log in, you're taken here. This is the iStart landing page. From here, you'll either select the admissions tab located to the upper left to access the verification of lawful presence e-form, the e-learning e-form, the change of status e-forms, or you will locate the request. You may have to scroll down the page if the request is not viewable immediately, and then click on the link to request the F1 immigration document. If you've been admitted to both the Atlanta and the Perimeter College campuses for the same term, then you will see both GSU main campus and Perimeter campus under the iStart home in the upper left corner. And you'll also have a request F1 immigration document for the GSU main campus and the GSU Perimeter campus under request. So it is important that you select the right campus profile and complete the e-form or the e-forms under the correct campus profile. If you plan to attend Perimeter College, but you submit your verification of lawful presence under the main campus profile, then the PC staff won't see your request to be processed. Only the Atlanta office does, and this will likely delay your request. It is very important to pay close attention to your e-forms when you have been admitted to both campuses, especially for the same term. Next slide, please. All right, so we're going to talk about verification of lawful presence and what that is. The verification of lawful presence is required of all Georgia State University students. Georgia State University admits all academically qualified undergraduate students, regardless of their immigration status. The Board of Regents of the University System of Georgia requires all students applying to Georgia State University to provide verification of their lawful presence in the United States to be classified as in-state for tuition purposes. More information about lawful presence can be located on the GSU website. The International Student Scholar Office does not determine the tuition classification of students, and we do not change a student from out-of-state to in-state based on submission or approval of a verification of lawful presence e-form. Our office only verifies the documents submitted for verification of lawful presence via the SEVA system or SAVE, which is the Systematic Alien Verification for Entitlement System. And then we update the immigration follow-up hold on a student record to allow next steps toward registration if the student holds a status that allows for registration of courses. Students that currently hold a valid B1, B2 visa are not permitted to register for classes due to visa restrictions and not due to GSU policy. Students seeking a change of status to F1 visa must complete the verification of lawful presence e-form before the immigration follow-up hold is updated on their student account, and they are allowed to continue with next steps toward registration for the semester. We will discuss change of status required e-forms later in this presentation. So all students, next slide, sorry. All students except those requesting an I-20 immigration document or those who plan to study while remaining outside of the United States must complete the verification of lawful presence e-form and either verify their lawful immigration status or opt out of verification of lawful presence. Under the admissions tab is where you will find the verification of lawful presence e-form. You don't need to submit all the e-forms located under the admissions tab. Once you've located the e-form you need to submit, click on the e-form link to load the actual e-form. Next slide. This is a copy of the current verification of lawful presence e-form. If you can advance one slide, please, for me. Thank you. So this is what the e-form currently looks like. And this must be submitted for the immigration follow-up hold to be updated on your student record to allow you to continue with your next steps toward registration. This e-form should not be submitted if you hold F1 visa status. If you hold F1 visa status, you must complete the e-forms located under the request section of your iStart account. Please make sure to read the e-form carefully and complete all of the required information. Once you have selected your current immigration status from the drop-down menu, you will be prompted with additional information or uploads that might be required. Again, it's important to read, follow, and understand all of the information on this e-form. If you fail to upload any required documents, the e-form will not allow you to submit it. If the file uploads are not in PDF format, the e-form may give you an error and not allow you to submit it. Please read and correct each error message. If you still cannot submit your e-form, then you may email us with your name, your Panther ID, and a screenshot of the error message to our email for assistance. Some laptops and desktops have programs that prevent some actions in iStart. If you encounter any errors, you should log in and upload documents from your cell phone. Once your e-form has been successfully submitted, please allow 3 to 5 business days for processing. Some verifications do take longer because of the save systems. These timelines are not within our office control, but most verifications are completed within about 3 business days. Once approved, you will receive approval email in your next steps. Remember, approval does not mean that your tuition rate has changed from out-of-state to in-state. If you feel like you qualify for in-state tuition, you must submit a tuition reclassification application with a tuition classification office. You should consult the tuition classification website for additional information. Next slide. All right, so next we're going to talk about change of status to F1 visa. So visas are issued for a specific purpose and allow the visitor or scholar to enter the United States for that purpose only. If you wish to change your current non-immigrant visa status to F1, then you have 2 options for doing so. You can do it while you remain in the United States by obtaining an initial I20. While remaining in the United States, or you can obtain an initial I-20, return to your home country, interview for your visa abroad, and then return within the given time frame after your visa is approved. Both options have advantages and disadvantages, and each should be considered carefully. I do recommend you review the ISSS website thoroughly and contact us directly if you have any questions about change of status. For either option, you will need to complete the Verification of Lawful Presence e-form located under the Admissions tab in order to be eligible to continue with your next steps toward registration. And you will also need to complete the Request Change of Status to F1 visa e-forms in order to obtain the I-20 document needed to begin the change of status request. Our office does not assist with change of status other than determining your eligibility for the I-20 immigration document. And so it is highly recommended that if you remain in the U.S. and you request the change of status, you consult with an experienced immigration attorney. Next slide. To begin the change of status, you will first want to submit the Verification of Lawful Presence e-form located under the Admissions tab. Once the Verification of Lawful Presence e-form has been submitted, you can return to the Admissions tab and begin the Request Change of Status to F1 visa. You don't have to wait for the approval of your Verification of Lawful Presence e-form before submitting your change of status request. Simply click on the Request Change of Status to F1 visa link as shown here to access the e-forms associated with the change of status request. Next slide. You will see after you click on the link that there are 3 e-forms that must be completed and submitted to officially request the I-20 for your change of status request to F1 visa. Since there is more than one e-form for the process, then the e-forms are commonly referred to as a group or a checklist. You will begin with the first e-form, the change of status request. You'll click on the link to open the e-form, then complete the e-form and then submit this e-form. You will continue to the second e-form, complete and submit it, and then the third e-form will be available for you to complete. You must complete e-forms 1 and 2 before e-form 3 will be available for you to complete. Also, if you fail to complete the third e-form, our office will not know that your file is complete, and we won't receive an alert to review your e-forms and issue your I-20 immigration document if you're eligible. So be sure to complete and submit each e-form. Once the e-forms are submitted, processing time is usually about 5 to 7 business days, and you will receive updates and or your I-20 immigration document to your GSU email account. Next slide. All right, so due to travel restrictions, visa delays, visa denials, or some other reason, a student may need or want to begin their program online at Perimeter College. We do have an online option that students can apply to. You can attend for 1 semester or 1 year and then transition to the U.S. when you're able and you want to secure a F1 visa. Students that choose this option for whatever reason must notify the admissions office and must also complete the e-learning permission request e-form in your iStart account. Next slide. To access the e-learning permission request e-form, you will again log into your iStart account and click on the Admissions tab. Click on the e-learning permission request link to access the e-form, complete and submit the e-form. Next slide. So this is a copy of the current e-learning permission request e-form that must be submitted in order for the immigration follow-up hold to be updated on your student record to allow you to continue with your next steps toward registration. This e-form should only be used for those students who will remain abroad and study online for a particular semester. This e-form must be submitted every semester that you wish to continue from abroad, including summer semesters. Make sure to read and answer each question on the e-form. As you answer questions, the e-form will provide additional instructions or information to you to be reviewed or submitted. Failure to complete the e-form completely may result in a denial of your request. You must upload a copy of your passport to this e-form. The International Student and Scholar Office will use the passport information To access, we'll use this form to access and review any I-94 admissions records to ensure that you're not currently in the United States. So there will be a hold placed on your student account, and you may have to contact the International Student and Scholar Office prior to making changes to your current schedule, viewing end of term grades, or etc. By completing this e-form, you may also understand that you may not enter the U.S. on any non-immigrant visa classification without first notifying the International Student and Scholar Office of your intentions and approval of a non-immigrant visa. And that if you enter the U.S. on a B1 or B2 visa, you are not eligible to study. And by doing so, it is a violation of the B1, B2 visa. You are able to request an I-20 immigration document to be used to request an F1 student visa from the embassy or consulate office in your country by contacting our office directly at any time. If you wish to continue your study online from abroad, but you fail to submit the e-learning e-form by the e-form deadline date, you may be charged for required medical insurance for the semester. This charge will not be refunded if more than 15 days have passed since the beginning of the semester and you have failed to complete the e-learning form. Our office will email students after the semester start date and inquire plans on future registration at Georgia State University. These communications are sent approximately 5 to 6 weeks after each semester start date. Next slide. Students requesting an I-20 immigration document, whether to use for initial entry to the United States or to transfer to GSU, must complete e-forms and must meet minimum financial funding. You can review the estimated cost of attendance at the ISSS website, and we can put that link in the chat for you. You would select the incoming students tab, scroll down to the estimated cost of attendance link. This link will also list all the types of documents that can be used to meet the minimum financial requirements, statements, letters to be eligible for the I-20 document. Students must also submit the sponsor commitment form obtained from the ISSS website unless they are self-sponsoring. Any students receiving any type of scholarship funding must provide the scholarship award letter and then the additional funding, if needed, to meet the minimum funding required to obtain the I-20. Next slide. So to begin the request in iStart for your I-20, log in and then locate request on the iStart landing page shown here toward the bottom. Excuse me. Again, you may have to scroll down the page some if you don't immediately see the request. You're going to click on the link to open the eForm group to start your request. If you are admitted to both the Atlanta and the perimeter campuses, make sure you are selecting the eForms for the correct campus and the correct academic level. Next slide. You will see after you click on the link that there are 6 e-forms. 5 of these e-forms are required and must be completed and submitted. You will begin with the first e-form, the current immigration status. Click on the link to open the e-form, then complete and submit the e-form. Next, you continue on to the second, the third, and the fourth e-form. All students must complete e-forms 1 through 4, regardless of whether you are an initial student arriving from outside of the country or if you are a transfer student. Once you've completed the 4th e-form in the group, the last e-form will become available for you to complete and submit. If you fail to complete any of the required e-forms, then our office will not know that your file is complete and we will not receive an alert to review your e-forms and issue your I-20 immigration document if eligible. So be sure to complete and submit each e-form. Once the e-forms are submitted, processing time again is usually about 5 to 7 business days, and you will receive updates and or your I-20 immigration document to your GSU student email account. If you are a transfer student, you already hold a valid I-20 from another school or university, you must also complete the 5th e-form in the group, the Submit SEVIS Transfer In request, before completing and submitting the last e-form in the group. If you fail to complete the Transfer In request and you are a transfer student, then this will result in your e-forms being denied. You will then need to correct your errors and resubmit the e-forms. You are able to begin and save draft copies of your e-forms as you complete those, and then return to submit them at a future time. You will need to upload your passport, your financial documents, and your sponsor commitment form to this e-form group, so you may want to review those e-form requirements and prepare the documents needed before you begin to start work on your e-forms. Next slide. Admission e-form deadlines are very important and they should be met. So failure to meet the deadline may result in your request being denied. Students are strongly encouraged to submit their required e-forms within 1 week of your acceptance to the university. We do understand that sometimes that is not possible. If you feel like you cannot meet the e-form deadline for a particular category, you must contact our office immediately to discuss your options. All students should receive an email with the e-form deadlines for the term you have been admitted to within a few days of admissions to the university. Please make sure to read each communication carefully, as deadlines are sometimes updated or extended. If you have not received an email with the admission e-form deadlines, or you're not sure which category you fall into, you may contact us for assistance. All e-forms must be submitted by 5 p.m. on the deadline date to be considered. Next slide, please. After your I-20 has been issued, within a few days, you'll receive an email with your next steps to access your International Student Orientation course offered through Homebase. Your International Student Orientation e-forms are in your iStart account under the Request section. This is the same location as where you found your I-20 request e-form. You will be able to complete your ISO e-forms even if your I-20 is not issued yet, but you should not complete the ISO e-form before you receive an email notification from iStart to do so. This email communication usually comes after your I-20 is issued, but for a transfer student, it is sent after approval of your admission e-forms. Next slide. The international and the orientation and check-in e-forms are located under the request section, section of your iStart account after you log in. Remember, you might have to scroll down to see those. Once you locate the link, then you'll click on the link to gain access. When you get to this form here, you'll see where I've highlighted in yellow the little minus sign. So there will be a plus. You'll click on that to expand the section. Once you've clicked on the plus, the menu expands and you'll see each form that is required to be submitted. So from here, you'll click on each link, read the information contained on each e-form, upload any required document, and then submit your e-form for processing by our office. The dash, again, can be used to expand or collapse this section of your iStart account. Next slide. Answer the questions asked on the e-form and submit your e-form to receive your next steps and instructions on how to create your Homebase account to complete your required International Student and Scholar course. You will receive these steps after your e-form is approved by the International Student and Scholar Office. Next slide. Once your e-form is approved, you will follow the instructions in the email to create an account at the Homebase website. Homebase is an online module-based course that will help you understand and protect your immigration status while adjusting to life at Georgia State University. International Student Orientation is mandatory for all new students, including students who are continuing at a new degree level or transferring to Georgia State University. You will need an access code to create your account. Your access code will be included in your eForm approval email. We recommend using your GSU student email to create your account. This is where your completion certificate will be emailed after you have completed the course. You will not receive the completion certificate if you do not complete the course and all of the associated questions and quiz. You must ensure to read and expand all sections to ensure that there are no questions listed at the bottom of each section before moving on to the next section. Make sure to remember your password and bookmark the home-based course so you can refer to it as you continue your studies at Georgia State University. The course is expected to take 2 hours to complete. Next slide. So in this example, you can see that the course completion rate is only at 94%. If you do not receive your course completion certificate, please return here and ensure your course completion shows 100%. If it does, and you have not received your course completion certificate, you may email me for assistance. Next slide. So this is a sample of what your completion certificate will look like. And this is what is needed to be uploaded to your iStart account under the International Student Orientation link using the eForm ISO completion certificate upload. Excuse me. Next slide. So once you've arrived in the United States, you must provide your arrival eForm in iStart. The arrival eForm cannot be completed until you have arrived in the United States. Our office must report all students holding F1 immigration status within 30 days of each new semester. We are unable to report students without proper information. The pre-arrival eForm collects the additional information required to complete the federally mandated immigration reporting. Failure to submit this eForm upon arrival will result in termination of your I-20 status. Next slide. Once the I-20 is issued, students should contact the U.S. Embassy to schedule an interview for the visa appointment. For students seeking entry for the summer semester, the earliest admit date is May 4th of 2024, and the latest admit date is June 3rd, 2024. For students seeking fall semester entry, the earliest admit date to the United States is July 27th, 2024, and the latest date again is August 26th of 2024. Students who are not able to secure a visa appointment or approval prior to the semester start date must defer their admissions and I-20 or request to study online from their home country. In order to study online from your home country, you must complete the e-learning eForm located under the admissions tab in iStart. Once the e-learning eForm is submitted and reviewed, our office will send your next steps toward registration and information on how to defer your I-20 immigration document to a new entry semester. Next slide. If you cannot obtain the F1 visa and arrive in the U.S. to begin your studies, then you should complete the visa delay/denial eForm located under the admissions tab in your iStart account so that our office is aware of your visa delay or denial. Once received, the International Student and Scholar Office can provide your options for attending on the visa denial/delay eForm. In general, if a visa is delayed or denied, the students would have 2 options. Next slide. You can start your program online while in your home country or you can defer your admissions and I-20 document to a new term. If you decided to defer your admissions and I-20 to a new term, you must first complete the reactivation application with the admissions office and be readmitted for the new entry term. Once that process is completed and you are readmitted, you would receive an email from iStart to submit new e-forms for the new semester to obtain the updated I-20 immigration document. You will need to submit all new e-forms for the new admissions term. But if the financial documents you previously used are less than 6 months old, you may simply use and upload the same financial documents. If the financial documents are more than 6 months old at the time of submission of your new e-forms, you must provide updated financial documents to receive your deferred I-20. You must complete the reactivation application and e-forms within 45 days of the semester start date, or your current I-20 will be canceled and you'll have to be issued a new I-20 with a new SEVIS ID for the new term. If you're issued a new I-20 with a different SEVIS ID, you must pay the I-901 fee again, even if you've already paid previously. Ensuring you complete the reactivation e-forms quickly will allow us to simply defer the original document. Again, if your visa is delayed or denied, just submit the visa delay denial e-form in iStart and we'll provide you with detailed next steps. Next slide. For students whose visa may be delayed or denied but still wish to begin studies, you can do so by completing the e-learning permission request e-form in your iStart account. Completing this e-form will alert our office that you intend to study from your home country for the semester you selected on the e-form. Once submitted and approved by our office, we will update your student account and you can continue with your next steps toward registration. The e-learning permission request e-form must be submitted for every term you wish to continue studies online from your home country. Failure to submit this e-form will cause health insurance fees being generated to your account, since health insurance is mandatory with students attending Georgia State University holding F1 immigration status. So to ensure that you're not charged, please make sure to complete and submit the e-form each semester you want to continue with online classes from your home country, including summer semesters. Next slide. Once the e-learning permission request e-form has been submitted, if you've already been issued an I-20, we will review your previously submitted e-forms, update your iStart account, and either defer the start date of your I-20 or advise you of the required steps to defer your I-20. If you have not been issued an I-20, our office will reach out to you after classes begin for your e-learning semester to discuss your plans for future registration and any needs for an I-20 immigration documents. Students who begin the semester online cannot enter the United States after the semester has begun. Students may only enter the United States with a valid passport, an approved and valid F1 visa, and on or after the earliest admit date on their current SEVIS I-20. If you are unsure of your earliest admit date or you have questions about online studies, then you should contact us directly. Next slide. Students holding F1 immigration status must be enrolled full-time each spring and fall semester. For fall semester, students must register for at least 12 credit hours. Of the 12 credit hours, at least 9 hours must be taken on campus, face-to-face, or hybrid. A student is allowed to take 3 additional required credit hours online to meet the minimum credits required of 12, or you can take all 12 credit hours on campus. Students must maintain enrollment for the entire semester for the minimum credit hours. Initial students that cannot meet the requirements should defer their attendance. There is no allowance to allow for fully online class registration for students holding F1 immigration status. Students not registered correctly will be in violation of their immigration status, This is a situation that should be avoided at all costs. For summer, if you are issued an I-20 that begins on June 3rd, students will be required to register full-time. That will be 6 credit hours. And those 6 credit hours need to be taken online, on campus or hybrid. You can take 3 credits on campus and 3 credits online for a summer semester. Next slide, please. All right, so now that you're aware of the credit hours required for registration and all the holds are updated on your student account, you'll be able to move toward registration. It's important that once admitted to the university, you continue to check your GSU email each day for important information regarding, excuse me, new student orientation, registration, and semester start dates. Summer classes begin on Monday, June 3rd, 2024. And a reminder, the earliest admit date to the United States is May 7th. Students may begin entering on May 4th. The earliest admit date is May 4th. Students may begin entering on May 4th, but arrive no later than the semester start date of June 3rd. Fall classes will begin on Monday, August 26th. The earliest admit date to the United States is July 27th, and the last arrival date is August 26th. Students who cannot arrive within the allowed time frame given should contact ISSS directly. Next slide. When you attempt to register for your classes, you may see different holds on your student account. Some holds will prevent you from registering for classes, while others will not. Our office can only update the immigration follow-up hold on your account. If you have the immigration follow-up hold and you have been issued an initial transfer pending, change of level, I-20, or you have submitted verification of lawful presence or e-learning and received an email approval, you should contact our office. Our office cannot update any other holds from any other office. You can review the registration hold website shown in the slide for helpful information, tips, and resources on how to clear registration holds. For immunization holds, you must contact the Student Health Clinic directly. Next slide. So our office is available to assist you with questions related to ISTAR or immigration matters. If you need assistance, you may email us directly. Do make sure to include your Panther ID, your concern, and any error messages that you've received so that we can respond to you quickly and fully. You may also call us or sign in and request a callback or an in-person visit during our advisement hours via the QList system. Next slide. So that is all the information I have. We do look forward to welcoming you on campus soon.